Hey, what's going on? After like, what, 6 months? Maybe a little bit more than that? We finally reached the first milestone of the channel. 100 subscribers. It's very, very cool. Thank you guys all so much for your support. And so, because of that, I thought I'd do something a little bit special. At least to me. If you watch my videos, you know, I don't really talk much about myself. So, I thought I'd do that. You know, kind of like an interview. So you guys can learn more about my interests or like my favorite characters and all that jazz, since I otherwise very rarely ever do it. And then after that, I've got a couple of fun stuff planned, so let's just get right into it. To start with the obvious, my tag is Night of the Wind. And yes, before you ask, it is a Sonic and the Black Knight reference. I grew up really liking that song, and I made this tag back when I was a Sonic main back in Smash Ultimate. Because now I main Sora, but you know, that's besides the point. But yeah, that's the origin of the name. You know, super silly. And then I've just kind of kept it ever since. For short, you could just call me Knight. It's super simple. You can call me Knight, you can call me KOTW, I don't really care. Do whatever. I don't really care. My birthday is actually coming up on the 4th here. I don't know when this is gonna be uploaded or whatever, but yeah. And I am a college student. I am a CS major. You also know that I play a lot of different video games. Obviously ranging from, you know, like gacha games to like actual JRPGs and stuff like that. A lot of the music that I use in my videos are from games that I've personally played and really enjoyed. So take the most recent one, the MOC video. The first song that you hear is from Melty Blood. I used to play Melty Blood a lot. I am actually a Shiki main in Melty Blood. I also play a bunch of other fighting games too. In like Grand Blue, I play Gran. In Under Night, I play Hyde. And in Guilty Gear, I play Kai. You can probably see a pretty easy correlation between all of those characters. Yes, they are all the stereotypical swordy / Shoto of the game or whatever. You know, Kai and Hyde all use the big swords and Gran, and so the only outlier is Shiki, but even still, he's still a protagonist of his game, so I think that gives you a good glimpse as to the type of characters that I like. And then as for JRPGs, I just really enjoy a lot of different stuff. My personal favorite JRPG series is Kingdom Hearts. My current banner is the box art of Kingdom Hearts 3. And Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite game of all time. It like completely changed the game genres that I like. Because I used to be really into like turn-based games, but now I'm into action-based games. And I don't really see myself reverting back anytime soon. So like now my favorite games would be like Devil May Cry, Tales of Arise, Scarlet Nexus, all that jazz. Those are some of my favorite games. I still do love my fair share of turn-based RPGs. Take for instance the Trail series, which the character in my profile picture is from. I'll talk more about him later for various different reasons. And then as far as other games, I do also play with them games. Mostly just Osu, but I'll play some other stuff too every so often. And then I'm also huge into platformers. One of the most recent games that I finished is Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight was a blast. Even if Pantheon 5 was a bit of a struggle to get through. But what are you gonna do about that? I really enjoy those types of games. And then, of course, I also don't really mind visual novels all that much. Obviously, I like Tsukihime because I played Melty Blood. I also really like Ace Attorney, and I like the Somnium Files. And those are all kind of visual novel games, so I'd at least count them at least, personally. Besides that, nothing else really comes to mind. Recent games started. I'm gonna be starting FE Echoes. Fire Emblem is another one of my favorite series, actually. So, I love the Fire Emblem games. But yeah, I'm gonna be starting FE Echoes. I'm gonna be playing through Ace Attorney Investigations, and a bunch of other stuff, really. Just more platformers, more visual novels, all that jazz. I'm usually pretty lenient on the games that I like, so if you have any like game suggestions, then feel free to let me know, because I'm always looking for more games to play and to finish and all that jazz. Yeah, and again, back to music, I'll like only choose music from the games I like. Another series that I highly recommend, aside from like the Trails series, which is more niche, is Ys as well. Ys has some really good music and is super fun. It's just it's like kind of brainless mashing or whatever, but it's like super fun. Especially Ys 10. Ys 10 is amazing, so I highly recommend that. I think that just about does it for like games of interest. Oh, right. I do like to draw a bit as well. I'm not the most amazing artist. If I feel like it, I might leave a drawing or two here if I feel like showing off some of my mediocre art skills, but I do like drawing. I want to draw more, but I just never find the motivation to. So, yeah. Besides that, not really much comes to mind. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to the next segment of this besides just my interests. Favorite characters. This one, if you know me, you probably know a couple of my favorite characters, but we'll start at like the bottom of the list and move our way up. So, my fifth most favorite character, if I had to choose, is... I actually forgot. If I had to choose a fifth favorite, honestly, I think I'd actually go Sora. Sora from the Kingdom Hearts series. As you know, I'm big into Kingdom Hearts, and Sora used to be like my favorite character of all time, back when I was in my Kingdom Hearts phase. I still really love Kingdom Hearts, because obviously it's my favorite game and favorite series, but back in like 2023, back when Kingdom Hearts 3 first released, I was first enthralled by the Kingdom Hearts series, and have since been obsessed with it. And Sora very quickly resonated with me. I love that guy. He's just, I don't know, I just really like him. It's been a minute since I played Kingdom Hearts, but like, you know, he doesn't really have much going on with himself, but seeing this dude who, you know, wasn't really chosen by destiny, or no, he kind of was chosen by destiny. Or seeing him being just this regular kid being forced onto this journey to like save the world through like these insane threats always really resonates with me, which is what you'll see with like a bunch of my other favorite characters. After that, number 4 would probably be Yuito Sumeragi from Scarlet Nexus. Once again, another protagonist that's gonna be a recurring theme here. He's kind of a similar case as Sora, really or not similar case, but, you know, similar. He acts a lot more like how I'd imagine myself acting, or that's basically it, but he basically just acts a lot like me, I think. He's just like a regular dude who's had a really tragic past and has this power in him that he doesn't know the the origin of, or what it does and all that, you know, being the red strains and all that, and then is forced through some really traumatic things happening to all of his family, to all the people he loves, like his friend, and, you know, working alongside Kasane, who's also had a very tragic past and all that jazz, so, you know, that style of character really resonates with me. And then we move on to my third favorite. My third favorite character would probably be... Who would I put as my third favorite? I actually forgot what's supposed to go in here. So I think just for the sake of this, I'm gonna put Shiki, actually. Shiki is a lot more out there when it comes to the characters that I like. He's a lot more deranged, I guess. He's very straightforward, kind of a lunatic at times, but I think that's where he really excels, because he really fits the plot of Tsukihime and all that jazz. He's not really like me, and he doesn't really stand out, and he doesn't really seem like a character that I would like, but I really do. Because again, tragic past, but also the mystic eyes of death perception and everything going on with them there is very interesting to me. There's a lot more to his character that I just can't quite explain because I didn't prepare a script for this. This is all just improv. Sorry. But yeah, he'd probably be my third favorite, or at least up there, I think. And then we get to my second favorite. So, disclaimer, second and first are probably gonna be tied for favorite. I just put him second here because, you know, I feel I haven't had enough time to really fully flesh out how I feel, or if he's my favorite or not, but second favorite goes to Finon. Pretty easily. You know the staple boy of the channel here. I always go out of my way to try to use them whenever possible, or to try to get like a really good score with them whenever possible. It's basically just my thing at this point. But yeah, I really like Finon for mostly pretty obvious reasons. Seeing his character slowly develop from 3.0 to 3.3, and then having that release in 3.4, where we learn exactly what's been going on. Like, I liked Finon initially when I saw him back during the preview back in 2.8. I was like, ooh, I really like his design. And then 3.0 I was like, oh yeah, I really like his character. But then as it kept going, and he kept getting more and more important, and as he slowly just started to lose himself, because literally everything that he's wanted to protect just started dying and all that, like, it was peak. It was so peak. They're never gonna make a character like Finon ever again. He's probably pretty easily just my favorite gacha game character of all time. I don't think I've ever been so obsessed with a character from a gacha game before. Even like when I really liked Acheron and all that, I wasn't even like that huge on Acheron as I was with Finon. Like, yeah, I do like a bunch of other characters, but I just think that Finon's really easy second. If it weren't Finon in that position, my favorite character from HSR would probably end up being Anaxa, because I also really like Anaxa, and it pains me to not pull him once again, but you know, I would gladly pull him if he didn't have banners coming after that I liked more. But yeah, Finon, easy second/first place. I don't really see any other character possibly overtaking that from him for a long, long while. And then finally, we have first place. And I talked about him earlier. It's Rean Schwarzer. Just get that out of the way. It's Rean Schwarzer. He, like, the more that I, like, think about Rean and Finon, the more that I realize these two characters are actually, like, kind of similar. Both are very self-sacrificial. Well, not self-sacrificial, but they care more about others than they care about themselves. And they just have a really strong sense of being so selfless to the point where they'd endanger themselves, or that they hate themselves so much that they'd be willing to put themselves through unspeakable things for the people that they love. I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but basically, the closest I can think of with Finon happening and with Rean happening is more towards the end of CS4 and start of Reverie, where Rean, like in the false ending, like sacrifices himself to carry this burden to carry like the burden of Ishimoga, but it only ends up being worse for him and turns him down, you know, a bad path and being possessed by Ishimoga. It's kind of a similar way with, like, the Flame Reaver. Well, in Flame Reaver's case, he still had that sense of, you know, he has a goal to make sure the cycle never properly resets to stop Iron Tomb, but he's always made himself out to be the bad guy. To, you know, be the driving force for the Flame Chase. To just stall for time, basically. So, that's just how I feel. And then, you know, they also have that power deep within that they don't quite know to control, and being depressed swordsman. Like, I could gush about Rean all day, but, you know, this is me, this is just a small little thing. But yeah, huge Rean fan. And I highly recommend that you check out the Trails games too. if you also like Finon, because you'll probably get a pretty familiar sense from Marine as well. I love Marine, I love Finon, they're like easy top 2 for me. So yeah, and then I thought to close out the interest section of this, I'll talk about my favorite HSR characters. Obviously my top 1 is Finon, pretty easy, but what about the other ones? So second favorite would probably go to March 7th. Before Finon, one of the main driving forces that kept me playing this game was March. Because she's super funny, she's adorable, like, there's so much to love about March. I have some friends that dislike March. I think they're crazy for disliking March. If they're watching, you know who you are. Didn't mean to sound so threatening there. Oh, but yeah. I think if you dislike March, it says more about you than it does anybody else. And I'm completely, totally not joking. Haha. Okay, yeah. And then third favorite is kind of close, but I'm gonna say Acheron. Yeah, I'm gonna say Acheron. I am a pretty big Acheron fan. I kind of wish they did more character with her or gave her more screen time during Penacony, but I think what we know about her is enough to make me like her a lot. Especially considering I also like the Raidens from Genshin and also a little bit from Impact 3rd, but I haven't played as much Impact 3rd, so I'm not gonna use that to leverage my opinion on any of the characters. And then fourth favorite would probably be Anaxa. Huge Anaxa fan. Just, you know, reminds me a lot of like a more sarcastic and outgoing Alhaitham. Like, Alhaitham is like, you know, he's the scholar who's like, I don't want to do anything. But then you have Anaxa, who's like kind of the opposite of that, where he'd do anything to like prove his point and just make himself out to be like a mad scientist or whatever. Like, he's so real for that. And then of course, my fifth favorite would actually be Luca. I initially didn't think too much about Luca, but then we got the Olaf Fu sword tournament, or the tournament arc, from the event, and it like completely 180'd how I viewed Luca. It made Luca go from a character that I was just like, he's cool, to actually like really genuinely liking. He's definitely my second favorite 4-star if you want to count March as a 4-star. But obviously we have Evernight, who's a 5-star, so it doesn't really count, but I liked March still as a 4-star. So, yeah. Luca, pretty easy fifth favorite. Also, he's just got a really cool design. He's probably my favorite Bellabog character. And yeah, we'll just wrap that up there. Now, oh boy, the fun part of this section. I'm going to embarrass myself on the internet by making really cringy voice impressions, oh boy, of favorite characters. You saw like a very small bit of that side of me back during one of my previous videos, mostly unintentionally, but I'm gonna do that again, but fully intentionally now. Everybody has that phase in their childhood where they're just trying to be their favorite fictional characters. I suppose I've never really grown out of that. I've never quite grown out of that, and I still do them to this day, and still practice them a little bit to this day. I'm actually voice acting in one of my friend's RPGs that he sent me, or that he wanted me to voice act the protagonist for, so I'm doing that. So yeah, should be fun. Anyways, without further ado, let's begin. We'll start with some of my better impressions, and then slowly move on to some of the other characters that I'm not as good at. So, you know, the starter, we're gonna do a quick Mario impression. Why? Because this is probably the one that I've practiced the most, and the one that I've had since I've been a kid. Oh boy, here we go. I'm a little nervous. It's me, Mario. Woohoo! Oh my god. This is so embarrassing for me. I only really do this jokingly with friends. I don't actually do this normally. Hoo! Ha! Woohoo! Yeah. That's the most I could get her. Oh boy. Man, that's only one? And I had like a couple characters lined up that I wanted to do. Man. Alright. Let's move on. So, the next character that I wanted to do was a couple voice lines for Sonic, my other most practiced character. Because, you know, as a kid, I was also a huge Sonic fan. Like, really big into Sonic. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. What's a good voice line that I can do? That tornado's carrying a car! That was kind of bad, actually. We'll try a different one. We'll do like a Jason Griffith one. From Sonic and the Black Knight, because Sonic and the Black Knight is iconic. Every world has its end. I know that's kind of sad, but that's why we gotta live life to the fullest in what time we have. At least, that's what I figure. I feel like that felt that was too soft, maybe. I can't actually listen to this, because it's just constantly recording in Audacity. By the way, yeah, I'm recording from an external, I'm not recording from OBS this time, because, you know, higher voice quality. What's another Sonic voice line? Too easy! Piece of cake! Okay, I think that should be good. Sonic, these characters don't really have as many voice lines, they just make sounds because they're from platformers. But now we can get into some of the other characters that actually have voice lines outside of just grunts and some other quotes. Okay. We'll just do two more, but because these two have a lot more voice lines. We'll be doing Green first, because he has a couple old lines. We'll do his like Freckles lines. Second form, Gale! Eternally flowing. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. 8 leaves, breaking dawn! I suck at like the longer lines, so excuse me for that sounding so cringy. Oh my lord. We'll do his other voice line. Azure flames, gather around my blade. Hold on, I'm gonna stop and listen to some of these real quick. BRB. Okay, yeah, these are as cringy as they sound, oh my lord. But hey, I'm doing this for you guys. This is what you sign up for. If you don't want it, then just leave now. Anyways, yeah. Crimson Slash! My blade will cleave ignorance and light the way. No, I don't like that. My blade will cleave ignorance and light the way. That's also kind of bad. I mean, I can't really tell between takes. My blade will cleave ignorance and light the way. I like that one. That one's pretty good. What's another one that I can do? My mind is clear. My blade empty. Okay. And then we'll do like a couple more from him. Actually, I think we'll just call it there for him for now. Because we don't have as many voice lines to work with. Well, no, we have more voice lines to work with, but they're like smaller voice lines. They're not longer. And now, we'll finish up the video doing a Finon impression. Yippee! I'm just like my idol. Whoop whoop! He's got a lot of stuff, and I memorized like basically all of his lines, so this shouldn't be too bad. For the next tomorrow, the future will arrive. The fury of innumerable cool flames consume me. Trying to sound a bit more agitated for those, because you know, Castellana versus the original. No matter, I'll once more give it everything. A soul without substance. An empty shell. Quench the flames with blood. Remember this agony. No, Frank. Remember this agony. Branded by Strife's name. Oh my god. I'm trying too hard. Oh my god. With the old sun's embers, hail the new world's dawn! That's horrible. That was so bad. Oh my god. That was so bad. That was so bad. I'm embarrassing myself. I am on a college campus. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Well, they don't know me by face. They're just gonna know that I'm doing these cringy impressions anyways. Okay. With this newborn sun, tear open the sky. I grant you a dawn where all stars burn to ash. Other words I can think of? Light up the dawn. Light up the dawn. Light up. I don't think I'm doing very well. We'll do a couple more takes, because some of the previous ones sounded kind of bad. Innumerable core flames consume me. I don't think I'm winning with either of these. Man, what are you gonna do? What's one more line that we can do? Don't let time burn away in vain. No, that's too edgy sounding. Don't let time burn away in vain. No, that also sounds bad. Oh my god. Don't let time burn away in vain. That's also just my regular voice. Oh well. I won't give up, no matter how long I must wait. I won't give up, no matter how long I must wait. I mean, that was a little bit better. I won't give up, no matter how long I must wait. I mean, it's not horrible sounding, but it's still so cringy. I'm still gonna die of cringiness, dude. Oh my god. Well, we'll do his ult finisher one last time, and then we'll just call it there. I grant you a dawn where all stars burn to ash. That was an attempt, to be sure. Maybe not the greatest attempt, but it goes okay, it goes okay. Well, whatever the case, that will conclude this video for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all so much for 100 subscribers. If you want to see me embarrass myself again, you know, on the mic, then feel free to drop a sub, and maybe I'll do more stuff like this again, but actually, you know, try. I understand that you probably all also died of cringiness, and I completely understand that sentiment. I myself am dying of cringiness right now, so you're not alone. You're not alone. Whatever the case. Again, thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more stuff, or just more variety, such as like if you want to see me like play through some games, or if you just want to see my editing improve in any way, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm always looking for more ways to improve my content. So any sort of constructive criticism goes a very, very long way, and I would greatly appreciate it. But that will do it for today. I'll see you guys all next time. And again, for one last time, thank you for 100 subs. The next goal, I guess 200. Although I think if we want to set like a higher bar, we'll go 500. But just for the sake of wanting to do something more, or just to, you know, set a smaller bar, something that's more achievable, we'll go with 200. So subscribe for that. Thank you guys again. I'll talk to you guys all next time. I think next time will probably either be the pure fiction run, or it'll be anomaly arbitration. It's probably going to be anomaly arbitration, since that's typically more fun. So, yeah. Again, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out.